he does an exercise with a similar skill, in fact, one that's even more difficult than the one that Kevin Davis used. Right there, a stalder to a pirouette, which is supposedly D category, and the judges did not award him the D-level move for that particular skill. So in that case, the inquiry was denied.
Was it indeed a D move, or is it a matter of interpretation?
It is a D move, but apparently the judges said they gave him the D move, and yet they made other execution deductions in the exercise to justify the score.
Terry Gillespie, in the same situation as Schlesinger, had his inquiry denied. That plus Neil Palmer's inquiry on the rings made a total of 4 for Nebraska. Now here's Wayne Young with the official story.
Today on high bar, Coach Francis Allen from Nebraska felt that 3 of his gymnasts were not given proper credit for a particular D value, which would have made a major difference in their team score on high bar. So he submitted 3 inquiry forms. The problem was he also had inquired on another routine earlier on in the competition. So he had submitted 4 inquiry forms. We talked to him and indicated to him that there would be a deduction if he wanted to submit that 4th inquiry, but the gymnasts were doing exactly the same skill in question, and were not apparently getting credit for it. So he felt like either one would be, they'd all would be denied, or they all would be accepted. So he felt like he was on pretty firm ground. It meant the championship to him.
So he did, and he got the penalty, and that was a championship.
Well, one of the inquiries was upheld. And at that particular time, because the inquiry was upheld, the score was tied.
Well, okay, after all the controversy and protest, Arizona State and Don Robinson finally crowned the 1986 national champion.
And John, I'd like to see us do away completely with the inquiry rule. It only added confusion to a great competition. Hats off to Arizona State for one of the greatest come-from-behind victories I've ever seen.
For Bart Connor, this is John Dockery saying so long from the 1986 Men's Gymnastics Championships. Our executive producer is...
Next on CBS Sports Saturday.
This is CBS.
Join the 1986 NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships, already in progress.
I are remembered. And where almost anything goes, with the attire less than formal. Comparing our first session leader with our second session leader, Arizona State, after vault and bars, leads Alabama by 0.15. Our Utah-ASU comparison shows our defending champions down after the vault, but with a chance to make up ground on bars. And with some of Utah's fans hoping to pick up 6, here's Ann Butler.
You know, this is the first time the NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships have been held here on the East Coast. But for the fans of the 5-time defending champion Lady Utes, these fans gathered here, it takes a lot more than 2,200 miles to keep them away from their favorite team.
We just left home at 5:30, and everyone was dressed in red. As soon as we got on the plane, one of the super fans started singing the Utah song, I Am a Utah Man, and it was kind of fun to be on the plane and with a lot of people from Utah.
I haven't missed a meet in 6 years, a home meet, and I didn't want to miss nationals.
When he asked me to marry him, we had 2 agreements. One is that our honeymoon would be spent in Florida so we could see the Lady Utes, and 2 is that he'd wear red and white because he's an Aggie fan, but he's a convert to the U of U.
It's as big as the Bears are to Chicago, or the Yankees are to New York, or the Dodgers are to L.A.
We've followed these girls all through their collegiate careers, and they know it. And I think fan support means a lot.
I love our fans as much as they love us. They are the best people I've ever met, the best people I've ever been associated with, and God, I wouldn't trade them for anything.
The Utah fans, some 300 strong here in Gainesville, hoping Lisa Mitzel and the Lady Utes can make up some ground on bars while Arizona State goes to beam.
And the key to this routine on bar for Lisa Mitzel is this new skill she's added, a release move. There it is, little tuck knees, but she caught the ball and worked out of it very well.
You know, Arizona State had a lot of problems on bars. What about Utah?
They look great right here. She's going right through her exercise. Not a real hard routine, but she's doing it well, very clean. She's going to get a solid score with a good dismount here. Nice job. That's as good as she can do it.
Arizona State doing well on beam, but our leader in the clubhouse, Alabama, did excel in this event earlier with an average of over 9.3. This is Jackie Brumman.
Nice front somersault mount. Complete front flip, landed perfect on the beam. Tough mount. All the Arizona State girls have very difficult routines. Look at this. Right into 2 back handsprings. Very nice.
And that's really their style. We talked about it earlier. Utah won.
And they do very hard routines, risky routines. Good gymnastics, though. They're very good technique and nice style. Every woman on the team seems to have her own individual style.
While we have a moment, let me just tell you that Lisa Mitzel's score for Utah on bars was a 9.2. Peter, are you surprised by that?
Not at all, John. That's about the right score. It was she did her routine very well, but not extremely difficult. Had a few minor breaks.
You know, Jackie Brummer has been called by her coach.
Trains very hard, and right now she's in a very key position in this competition because she is in good contention to win the all-around title. She scored a 9.6 on vaulting and bailed her team out on bars with a 9.65. But don't forget Penny Hochschild. She has a record-setting performance from the early session of 38.2.
Of course, Alabama very strong in that early session. Jackie Brummer very strong right here.
Nice, back with the full dismount. That's an excellent routine. She's having a tremendous meet.
Let's take another look at this.
Watch this mount. Completely blind landing on the balance beam. Nice, that's 4 inches of beam now. And watch what comes up next. Consecutive back handsprings. There's one. Right into the next one. Perfect balance.
And there's the score, 9.65. And interesting, the seniors from Arizona State are doing it. Of course, Lisa Zeiss is next up on this piece of apparatus. But meanwhile, Cheryl Weatherstone is on bars for Utah.
Utah does look tough on bars. They had a good vaulting performance. They're following it here. Weatherstone swings nice, very, very nice on even bars. Up to the high bar, cast right to a handstand. Nice giant swing. Look at the speed. Half turn, catch the low bar. Okay, she does a very difficult dismount. It's a double twist. There's a lot of action in it. Here it comes. Just got it in, but she made it. Boy, they're hitting just like last year, John.
And you get a sense of maturity as you watch Weatherstone. She's a 21-year-old sophomore, and she was on the British Olympic team.
And that experience sure does help. At the end of this exercise, she was in a little bit of trouble on this dismount, but she saved it, minimized the deduction. Watch what happens now. She's doing a double twisting flyaway. There's the lift off the bar, right there. 2 complete twists, but right there she stalls out and has to put her feet down very quickly. You can see she landed close to putting her hands down, but she got it in, and that saved 1/10 of a point, and that's what Utah does all the time.
Obviously, she saw her score, a 9.5 for Cheryl Weatherstone right there. And the Lady Utes are looking across the arena because that's where Lisa Zeiss from ASU is getting ready for her beam routine.
Lisa is tremendous on the balance beam. Watch this mount. Pike front somersault, nailed the landing on the beam. That's great.
Not only great, Peter, but it strikes me as being very dangerous. How can you teach something like that?
It is dangerous, John, and the process of learning a skill like that is to first do it on the floor exercise, then on a very low balance beam, then gradually move the beam up and have spotters and safety mats and all the safety devices, but even then, it's still dangerous.
Still dangerous, and Arizona State willing to take that chance because, Peter Corman, they've been the bridesmaid to Utah 2 out of the last 3 years. They feel 1986 is their chance.
Well, they're coming back now. They had a little trouble on bars, and Lisa Zeiss really had a horrible routine for her on uneven parallel bars. But look at this now, a great difficulty-packed beam routine under a lot of pressure, and she looks completely relaxed, confident. Look at the height on those leaps.
You talk about the confidence and concentration when so much is happening around you. 4 events happening in this arena at the same time.
She sure looks great right now, boy. She came from a poor routine just moments ago. Beautiful Valdez. Not one single balance fault at all in this exercise.
And that confidence obvious in Lisa Zeiss, also in the Arizona State team. After all, they were the only team to beat Utah in a dual meet.
Dismount. Back with the full 1 step on the dismount, but that's a great performance. Boy, the seniors are really doing the job here.
Lisa Zeiss, a senior from upstate New York. And let's take another look right here.
Now watch her spot the beam with her eyes right there. You could see her look at it, then duck her head under. So she didn't want to take her eyes off that beam for any longer than she had to.
And there's her score, 9.5 for Lisa Zeiss. So after 3 rotations, Arizona State in the lead. Utah, Florida, we are between the 3rd and 4th rotations here at the Women's Championships. And Arizona State just came off a good performance on the beam. Peter Corman, they go to the floor. Meanwhile, Utah goes to the beam.
That's right. It's just like it was last year. Utah has to hit balance beam in order to win this national championship. But the pressure has been put on by Arizona State. Their 3 seniors really came through on beam, did outstanding routines. Let's see if Utah can handle it now.
And let's find out what Utah is feeling about that. Ann Butler is with their assistant coach, Megan Marsden.
John, I've been watching Megan interact with the girls during this first half of competition. Not an awful lot of structured coaching, just keeping the mood light, keeping the team loose. After 2 rotations, Megan, are you satisfied?
Oh, very much so. The girls are doing really as well as we can expect at this point. We had some falls on vault, but as you know, on vault, only 1 vault counts, so we hit the vault we needed to.
All right, the balance beam is coming up. What should we look for?
Well, I'd say consistency, number 1. I mean, I need my girls to stay on the beam. The other thing is staying on the beam is important, but they also have to have very few little breaks here and there, because a 10th can cost the championship.
Great expectations so far?
Oh, yeah.
All right, John, back to you.
Great expectations. Will they be fulfilled? We'll find out when we come back, because Utah will be on the beam, Arizona State on floor. We'll also have a scoring comparison of our top 3 contenders after this message and a word from your local station. Asking yourself how a 5-time national champion gets ready for the big competition. Reading their fan mail at poolside, of course. But how have the Lady Utes been doing back at the arena? As we've been saying all along, our leader, ASU, is 1 rotation ahead of Utah. But when you break down their scores after vault and bars, they are dead even. And what about our leader in the clubhouse, Alabama? Comparing their 3 common events, the Crimson Tide are ahead of ASU by 0.3 of a point. And this is Jackie Brummer with a 2-fold purpose on the floor. A 9.35 gives her the all-around championship, and a good score also helps her Arizona State team catch Alabama. A cushion between them and Utah.
What an absolutely marvelous performance she's had so far. 2 9.65s and a 9.6 on the previous 3 events. This is not Jackie's best event, but what a tremendous amount of progress in the last 3 years. Nice opening double back. She doesn't do it real powerfully, but she held on perfect and landed it nice.
And she's trying to catch Penny Hochschild from Alabama, who was terrific earlier in this competition.
Penny was terrific on the floor exercise. Jackie, nice second run on tumbling. She was never really a natural dancer, but she's gone through a lot of training at Arizona State, and she has made herself into a good all-around gymnast. Deserves an awful lot of credit.
Is this a 9.35 performance as you see it?
Well, there's not a lot of difficulty in this floor exercise routine, but there's an awful lot of presence. Jackie Brummer has really developed into a nice performer. She's enjoying herself right now to the music of classical gas.
Jackie Brummer from Arizona State trying to win the all-around, but also trying to close at 0.3 of a point team deficit with Alabama, who earlier today was very average on the floor.
Keep in mind as we watch this, she needs a 9.35 to outright win the all-around championship, a 9.3 to tie Penny Hochschild from Alabama. Nice dismount at the end of that routine. Boy, it's going to be close.
Did she get a 9.35? Here comes the score. A 9.3, so we have a 2-way tie in the all-around. Ann Butler is with a very interested spectator, Alabama coach Sarah Patterson.
Right now you're in a position of having to sit by and watch some of the top seeds try and beat you. Is that a position of confidence, or are you in the hot seat?
Well, I think they're kind of in the hot seat. The pressure's on them. I just hope the scores hold up, and I feel like no matter what happens, we did our job, and we did the best we possibly could do, and I couldn't be any prouder of my team.
All right, Coach Sarah Patterson, Alabama. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank